Hey everybody! So last week I posted my final update for the Polish challenge, and I wanted to answer the question of how much can you learn from just using Duolingo. Even if you don't just use the app to learn a language, I'm sure you're still curious as to how much you can learn from the app and the tips and notes section, because now that's something that is included online. But for those of you who don't know, I did a 90-day challenge, so 3 months, where I used only Duolingo and the tips and notes section, so no outside resources, no help from other people, YouTube videos, etc. And I just studied. Like, all I did was study from Duolingo, take notes, and then constantly review. I didn't use any other apps like Memrise, but recently I did find on the Memrise app a course for the Polish Duolingo course the Polish Duolingo course. What am I talking about? So, according to that, there are 1,492 words. Now, did I learn every single word because I did complete the Polish tree? No, I do not know 1,492 words in Polish. Now, there's things that I did know, and what I did was I studied what was most relevant to me. I did go through the whole tree, so I do know those skills, but there are things I know better than others. And the reason why I did this was because I wanted to answer that question of how much can you learn from just using Duolingo. But also, I genuinely wanted to learn Polish, which is why I chose that language. The interesting thing about Polish, though, is that it is considered a hard language for native English speakers. And it's even considered a hard language for native Polish speakers from what I've heard. Now, I chose it to be able to speak to my grandma and surprise her, which, if you've been following my videos, you would see that update, but if not, I do have a playlist of all my Polish updates, if you're curious as to what I learned and how I learned and my style of learning. But this is more of an analysis of the challenge and then Duolingo itself. So they give you a lot of vocabulary to learn, but the interesting thing is I chose what is considered to be a hard language. And as you could see from my videos, you saw how much I learned in 3 months. So imagine applying yourself that much, focusing on a Romance language or a language that is considered easier for whatever your native language is, or just if it's considered easy in general. Now, I've spoken with other people who have done other Duolingo trees, and I asked them because I was told by someone else, these are not my words but somebody else's, that the Polish tree is one of the most poorly structured trees, and that I don't think that is a very nice thing to say, but if it is true, which I don't have a lot of experience with other Duolingo trees, just Portuguese and then French, then I learned a lot from that. I don't know, I feel like I learned a lot. I mean, I can't go out and have a whole big deep conversation with anyone, but as far as basics go, I feel pretty good. And so if that is how the Polish tree is, and it's one of the worst, then imagine doing another tree. Like, I heard the Greek tree is structured very well, and the Swedish tree along with the tips and notes section, which is super important, and it's great that they offer that for grammatical explanation. But even though Duolingo, it lacks in grammar and explanation of grammar, even though they try to teach it, through repetition, I feel like vocabulary makes up for it. You learn a lot of words, as I said. There are plenty of words in the Polish tree that there were to learn, and with all of that, it gets repeated throughout different lessons, so even if you don't make your own flashcards and things, which I would advise you to study on your own outside of using the Duolingo app, such as flashcards or writing the words down or whatever, it repeats these words, and if there was a word that I wasn't getting for a while, it would eventually stick because of doing the sentences over and over again. I also wanted to say not to be afraid of Slavic or Asian languages. I know that Duolingo does not have a lot of Asian language options yet, but in general in language learning, do not be afraid of either one of those, because people made these courses, people who speak those languages very well if they're not already a native speaker, and they're here to help as much as possible, and there's many great resources online, and people have learned these languages before, so don't be discouraged by a hard language. I have also talked about how Polish is pretty similar to some of the Romance languages, so I won't really go into that in this video, but it's there in other videos if you're interested in seeing that. Also, let's see, I took some notes here. So my first month, I was really studying very hard and applying myself. But once the second month came, I kind of got into a slump. I wasn't in school at the time, so I really had no excuse to get into a slump, but my studying went down. It was once I got to the household objects because there were 50 plus words, and I thought, I can't memorize all of these before moving on, because the way I was learning was I was making sure everything was gold before moving on to the next lesson, and I was doing multiple skills a day. And once I hit that, I had to make the decision, am I going to memorize every word and then move on, or just get through the tree? And what I did was I went through the tree because not every word is super relevant to me. I don't know how often I'm going to need to use the word roof. I don't know, that's just an example. But there are other words as well. But at the same time, there's very useful vocabulary. So I want you to know that Duolingo gives you some good words and resources. Not all of them are these crazy sentences you see all the time, although there are some very dramatic ones that I saw, such as, you're safe now, I don't need your protection, you don't know her, stuff like that. Things that would be in some sort of action movie, but Duolingo gives you the resources, and it's up to you to do what you want with them. It can't learn the language for you. No one can. Only you can. So everything's there. Do what you want with it. I would recommend not using Duolingo on its own, but adding in other things. I like it as a supplement, but I did this to purely see how much I can learn from Duolingo. Another thing I wanted to say was that I tried watching Peppa Pig, which is a children's show, so I thought, hey, maybe my level's good for that. Tried watching Peppa Pig, tried watching the news, and there were only certain words I would get at times, but still, I was understanding some things, and I studied for 3 months only using one app, so the fact that I could get some words was very encouraging. I would like to study more. I know people were asking, will you continue your Polish studies? And yes, I do plan on doing that. I do plan on returning to Korean, so once the tree comes out, you may see a video about that, because I'm super interested in going back to Korean. But I do plan on continuing to study Duolingo, to studying Polish, because I think the language is super awesome, and there are things that in the app I did not get the hang of on just my own and would like to look up, such as the past tense. I didn't know past tense had gender, so that was something very interesting as well. Now, I would be able to say a lot more if I applied myself during month 2 and 3 as much as I did in month 1. I should be able to say a sentence like, I'm thinking about the future and I'm afraid because I don't know what to do, because I have all the vocabulary and grammar to learn that. At least that's how I felt the course was, and that's a totally normal sentence that I would say, except I can't because I didn't apply myself super well. So yeah, basically, that's about it for my Duolingo analysis. I think that if you do other languages, you'll have even more luck, and I really liked doing this challenge, and I plan on doing another 90-day challenge with people who are interested, maybe in the summer again. It depends, but that's what I'm thinking so far, so if you're interested, let me know. If you've done the Polish Duolingo tree, let me know how you feel about your competency in speaking, understanding, writing, reading, etc. in Polish. And you can see my videos of the Polish challenge for those of you who are curious as to how much I learned and what I was learning when. You could go through the whole process with me. And that's it. So that's how much I got out of it by my personal experience. Everyone's different. Some people study less, some people study harder, some people have different methods of studying and would choose a different language and get different results, which is why I invited people to do this. I was curious to know if someone picked a different language, would they learn even more than me or less than me or what? So that's it. If you have a request video, please let me know. Please like this video and subscribe for more language tips or language-related content. And the next few weeks you'll be seeing some request videos that I actually got. So I'm happy to be able to share those and hope that they are helpful. And please share these videos with anyone who you think may need this advice, because sometimes it's hard to come across language advice videos and everything. And so if people need the help and you think that this would be a good fit for them, please send it along to them and spread the word. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!